right, Darksiders, hopefully all is well. We are going to get into The Defenders today. The Netflix series dropped this week, and there's only 8 episodes in it, so we're going to talk all 8, no spoilers, of course. Guys, listen, I'm freestyling today. I am not working from any script, which is cool because I want to kind of be able to talk about this in a loose way. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything for you because I really want you to see this, actually, because I do think that it's actually a really good series, despite some of the fears that people had before this series came out. So you guys know who the players are here. Of course you do. We've got Luke Cage, we've got Jessica Jones, we've got Daredevil, and we have got Ironfist. Those 4 had individual shows on Netflix, of which my favorite by far is definitely Luke Cage, and then probably Daredevil, and then Iron Fist, and then Jessica Jones, which honestly I didn't get into that much. I do want to mention 2 other people that are part of this series. One is Sigourney Weaver. Happy to see somebody of her acting caliber actually in this show, and she plays a character named Alexandra. And we also have John Bernthal. Okay, do I need to say who that is? I mean, he played the Punisher in the Daredevil series, and he was awesome. So when I saw that, I was like, because I was super excited to see that he was going to be in this as well. So those folks, I feel like it's worth mentioning. So here's the way I think that we're going to do this. Again, because I'm not working from a script. I'm just coming off of the thoughts that are within my head. And the gray matter, man, the gray matter, it's not what it used to be. So I think it's easier for me to break this up into what I liked and what I didn't like. So the first thing I want to say, actually, before I get to that, is that these first 2 episodes are slow. And guys, that's not indicative of this whole series. The first 2 episodes are really establishing episodes, almost like an establishing shot with an opening picture where they give you that long view to let you know what the setting is. Well, the first 2 shows are kind of like that. During these shows, we find out what's going on in the life of our heroes and how they're dealing with just things that are happening with them, from their personal relationships to their status as heroes, to their employment, just kind of all of what's going on with them. And the first 2 episodes kind of takes its time to tell us that. They do roll out the main villain, though, in the first episode. So we do get that. And there is an event that happens in the first 2 episodes that affects all of our heroes, which kind of ties them all into the main villain. Now, they're also dealing with separate villains just in their individual lives, and those are tied into the main villain as well, which is actually pretty cleverly done. So I'm not going to say much more than that because I want you guys to kind of find out how that works on your own. So those are the first two episodes. So I don't want you to be dissuaded by that. I don't want you to think, oh man, this is like slow. I don't know if I can get through it. Tell them, listen, episode 3, this thing really does take off. So from episode 3 on, it really does start to build, and the story actually becomes really, really engrossing. So it builds itself in such a way that you are interested in seeing the next episode to come. So one of the things I really did like about this movie was the way that they kind of gave us what we were looking for in terms of setting individual tones for our heroes. So what I mean by that is, if you've seen any of the other episodes, if you've seen Daredevil, you know that Daredevil has a different look and feel than Luke Cage. Luke Cage has a very specific look and feel when you watch it. So one of the things, oh, excuse me, you guys, but I'm going to keep going. One of the things, that's why that happened. One of the things that I was impressed by was how they pulled this off, because I thought to myself, you know, how are they going to do this? How are they going to give me what I love about Luke Cage and have all of these other Defenders within the same show? And they actually do a pretty good job of it. So during those first 2 episodes, or those first 2 shows, when you see them switch kind of to focusing on one character, they give us that tone and feel. So they might have the same music, the same camera angles, the same type of lighting that we're used to seeing from all of the individual shows. So I think that that was very cool. But my next question was, well, how are you going to pull that off when they're all together? And I'm not sure what they did here, but it all felt like it worked. And maybe that's the way that they captured the individual heroes working with each other, but yet still keeping their individual feel and tone from their shows as they interacted with each other. But that worked as well. So I was really impressed by that. I really did enjoy most of the fight scenes. Had some problems with Iron Fist fight scenes, same problems I had from the series. They just didn't seem very convincing, not very believable. I'm not even sure at this point what you can do about that. I mean, they really tried to mask it with camera angles and a lot of fighting done in the dark. The problem is the actor just can't pull off the fight sequence well. That is the main problem. So I did have some problems with that. And that's all I'll say about that. Daredevil scenes were great. Luke Cage kicked butt. Jessica Jones kicked butt. So the fight scenes were really good and engaging, and I thought that was awesome as well. Another thing I did like is when we meet our villains in this movie, I like how there was a little bit of dissension amongst them. It wasn't like they were all just super tight and narrow focused on this goal, but there was some tension amongst them, which actually added to this story a level of intrigue, which was nice because you had to deal with the dynamic of kind of trying to figure out what was going to go on with these guys, as well as what was going on with our heroes as they just kind of struggled to get to know each other and work together as well. So the fact that there were tension in the two different opposing groups was actually pretty cool to see. And the story actually builds that up pretty nicely, such that you're like really looking forward to the next episode because you're wondering what's going on kind of with everybody. So it does do a really good job of that as well. Thought it did a really good job of also kind of giving us some Easter eggs and some nods to the classic heroes. You know, Luke Cage is wearing the yellow t-shirt and things like that. So we see kind of some of the classic things that we see from our different heroes, from just their core or their origins from the comic books and things like that. So I thought that that was awesome. Also, I also enjoyed just the story build in general. I was a little scared after I saw Iron Fist. That was the last Netflix series to come out, to see how they were going to build this and if they were going to give us a story that was really kind of convoluted and confusing and all over the place, or if they were going to give us something that was cohesive and it felt like every one of the Defenders belonged there. And they did. They built a story for us that felt great. It felt like it was important that all of them were there. We knew why they were there. They had a role for being there. None of them felt forced in being part of the conflict. It was great. And I was really excited about that build. And it's done in such a way that you will want to see the next episode. This is an easy episode watch. It's an easy 8-episode watch. And at the end of it, you will be looking forward to season 2. One of the things that I think it was very astute, and Sean Chandler from Sean Chandler Talks About mentioned this in his review of the Defenders, is that they did build some high stakes in this. Kind of, you know, there were some things that happened in this story that were costly to individuals. They weren't kind of just things where everything just kind of works out at the end. There were some high stakes to everybody in this, and some things happen here that I think are going to be surprising, because I know I was surprised when I saw some things happen. I was like, wow, you know, they're kind of building in some stuff to this where we are experiencing some things that we just probably were not thinking was going to happen. So I thought that that was cool as well. So let's talk a little bit about some of the problems I had with it. And honestly, I didn't have a whole bunch of problems with it, all except for a few. I do wish that that we would have had, I don't know, you guys, and maybe this is like just too much to ask, but kind of just some expansion of some of the abilities. You know, so for example, Jessica Jones has some abilities that we have not seen displayed yet. Maybe we'll see them in season 2. You guys do know that she can fly, don't you? So we've not seen that, and I was hoping that we might kind of see some of those expanded abilities with the Defenders that we didn't see. Luke Cage also. So some of these guys have some abilities that we haven't seen. Iron Fist as well. So I was hoping that we might get a little bit of that, but we didn't. But who knows? Who knows? The night is young. Maybe we'll get some of that in 2. I don't know. But I didn't really have that many other problems with this outside of the first 2 episodes. Like I said, they felt really slow, but by the time I saw episode 3, I understood what was going on there. I understood the build up there. So let me say this, because at first it was a complaint, but it actually turned into something that I liked. Initially, I remember thinking, man, I wish it was just a little bit darker. I wish it was just kind of a little bit more. The tone was darker. But it actually went there. Around 4 or 5, it actually went there, and I was like, "Oh man, it's real! Like it's the stuff that's happening here is like high stakes." So that was kind of a positive, or a negative turn positive. But I just figured I would mention it because I didn't say it earlier. Okay, you guys. As I said, I'm not operating from any script. I'm just talking. Let me stop, guys. You know what? This is something that you definitely want to check out. Please make sure that you subscribe, guys. Make sure that you comment. Let me know what you think if you saw this. And also give this a like and share it. You guys, thank you so much. And I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.